I'm here with Meg of MilwaukeePhoto on Instagram and more. We've been on a few of the same brand campaigns, so I know she gets paid for content, making her a great special guest. Thank you for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me, and thanks for hosting this incredible event. Monetizing content. Where am I making money on the platform? So there are sponsored posts that I have. And then there's also ways that I'm engaging people in other ways. So social media coaching. And then there's also ways to make money on the side without really needing to do anything. So having someone reach out and they want like essentially your coursework on how to strategize your content, things like that. So there's a bunch of different ways to really dive into the content.
Off camera, we chatted about taxes. How has that experience been for you as a content creator?
It's a totally eye-opening experience because you have to completely change up the way that you thought that you were running your business beforehand, and really talk to a professional who knows what they're doing, and really organize the way that you're laying things out too, so that involves a whole lot of Excel sheets, but it also involves a lot of talking with other professionals who know a lot more than you do, starting an LLC, and learning the business side of house too. It's really important.
Now, you didn't start in social media at Discovery World, but you are here now. What was that transition like?
Yeah, so working at a nonprofit and jumping into the marketing side of things, I have been there for 9 years now, and I started working there in the education side of house. But for the longest time, I was promoting what our educational programs were. So making videos and making a lot of our social media posts to promote the educational programs there. There's 10 classrooms in that space that field trip groups are constantly taking labs in. So highlighting those things, highlighting some of the weekend workshops, but that kind of got me really interested in marketing Discovery World as a whole. And once COVID hit, that really changed everything, and the dynamics of and the structure of Discovery World. So I was doing a lot of our marketing on the side while also doing virtual teaching and working at Discovery World. So it really transformed my 9-to-5 profession too. So coming back a couple years ago and jumping in full-time into the marketing side of things.
I have to imagine that starting in a teaching role gave you a unique experience into the Discovery World experience. How has that helped with developing their social media content?
There's a lot of interesting ways in which I get to kind of play both fields of the marketing kind of atmosphere. One from like that content creator in my free time, something that I enjoy doing, versus one where I'm working with content creators on the other side of house. So I'm very familiar then with both sides of that and kind of navigating that. But then in working at Discovery World for so long and knowing all of the different departments very well, and knowing how the education field works, knowing what the exhibits do, knowing what the aquarium is up to. And that's a lot of networking too, and that's a really important part of marketing as a whole and the communication side of any business.
When do I gotta go that the bed of nails will be working?
The bed of nails is currently working, and the bed of nails on the lower mess. It just moved. We have a new exhibit area for the bed of nails. Everyone loves the bed of nails at Discovery World.
I have wanted to try the bed of nails since I was a kid, but I was definitely too scared to try it when I was younger.
JMatt, you let me know whenever you want to come to Discovery World and go on the bed of nails. I got you.
Sold. You still work at Discovery World, and you've added social media coaching along the way. When's the first time you got paid for a social media post?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think the first time I got paid for a social media post was in 2020. There were some companies that had reached out right around the same time. It was right around the time that Reels were starting on Instagram, that they were just trying to shake things up marketing-wise for their businesses, and they had reached out. So 2020, 2021.
Did they reach out to you and say, we want to pay you? Or were you more like, it's time for me to get paid?
They reached out and said, we want to pay you. So there's never been a business where I have cold called really anyone to reach out about a partnership or anything like that. It's been businesses who have reached out to me. I will say too, I have 2 different rate kits for marketing too. So I have one that the brands kind of align, and then I have another one where it's like those bigger brands, like, you know, those big name companies where I know that they have money to work with, versus one that I just want to help promote a business, and then I just want someone to cover the cost of a babysitter.
If someone watching this feels like they're on the cusp of charging for their content, what would you say to encourage them?
There's a wide variety of ways. There's a ton of websites that you can go onto too, where they essentially have social media people, content creators sign up. So those are the places where a lot of marketers are going and looking to see what your analytics are, because your stats are going to be listed on there, what your engagement is like, what your followers are like. But then they can also easily go to your account and they can see, are your followers real? Are you actively engaging in your online community too? Because they want to see that. And when they do see that, they want to reach out because you do have a highly focused, highly specialized followership.
What's one question that has stood out so far during tonight's #MKE Social?
I think the biggest one that I got was just, where do I get started? We talked about this earlier, but an intern knows what they want to end up doing, but where do I get started? Where do I go from here? How do I dive into it? And everyone's different. A lot of it is doing a lot of background research, because this is such a field that it's your own small business. So everyone's business is different, and it's doing a lot of research. It's making these kinds of connections, and that's really important.